Welcome, Illiana Christian, to another episode of Illiana Insights. I'm your host, Lance, along with Darren, and we're excited to be with you again today. We got our mugs going again, and our treat today, I said it was going to be healthy. We're pushing that one off another week or two.
Yeah, it ended up not being healthy.
It's not healthy at all,
But it
but
looks good.
it's good. This is a courtesy of the season. I got a little grief from my blog about Christmas. So I think we're hanging in with the pumpkin theme a little bit longer. A pumpkin cheesecake.
Yeah.
Courtesy of
Jenna Dutton.
Jenna Dutton.
Yeah.
Came through and did well. So if you need the recipe, email Illiana or insights@illianachristian.org.
Mm-hmm.
I'll get that right one of these days.
Yeah.
And have a bite. So let's try this
All
bad
right, let's
boy
give
out.
it a shot.
Yeah, that's really good. I'm not gonna lie.
Well done.
Yeah, it didn't even have zest in it.
That's pretty good. No zest, but savory.
Savory.
Yeah.
It was good. So if you have something you want us to try, email us and we'll give you a little shout out on the air. Jenna, you did a great job. On top of all the other stuff you do around Illiana, thank you for being an awesome director of admissions around here.
Yeah.
All right. So last couple times I had a trivia question. You have one for me this time.
I do. So
Out of the sleeve.
I had to think a little bit about this one, just to make sure I got some information right. So I'm going to test you a little bit on the athletics side of things.
Ooh.
Okay. So doing a little bit of research, and I could kind of see how our scope of programs has changed over the years. I found out that we have grown quite a bit, and I know this, but this year we have 23 varsity programs.
23.
23. So my challenge for you, can you name all 23 varsity programs?
All right.
And this is going to include, like, if you got a boys, girls,
Mhm.
right? Boys and girls basketball, that's going to be 2. And I want you to work seasonally on this one.
That's probably an easier way to go.
It's an easier way to go.
Easier for you to track as well.
100%. That's why I'm suggesting it.
Well, I got to go back to my days as an athletic director here.
Yep.
So let's start in the fall. And
Okay.
the problem is the season has changed. When I was the athletic director in Illinois for 14 years, and we got the switcheroo moving to Indiana.
Some things have changed.
All right. So we have girls soccer.
Mhm.
We have boys soccer.
Mhm.
We have boys and girls cross country.
Yep.
And then we have girls flag football.
We do.
Ooh,
Good catch.
good
First
catch.
year.
Boys tennis.
Mhm.
And girls golf.
Girls golf.
All right. Did I kill the fall there?
No, there's one more.
Um,
You're overlooking the
Volleyball.
obvious
Girls
volleyball.
volleyball.
Yeah.
All right. So the winner, we got boys and girls basketball, boys
Mm-hmm.
and girls wrestling, and cheerleading.
Almost.
Um,
We had a new one recently.
Swimming.
Swimming.
Yes.
Boys and girls swimming.
Boys and girls swimming. That
Yeah,
counts as
so
two.
that's a duel. Yeah. So
Okay.
far, so good. All right, what do you got for the spring?
Spring, we got baseball, softball, girls tennis, and then we have boys volleyball.
Yep.
Girls and boys track.
Mm-hmm.
Boys golf.
Yep. Don't think too much harder because you got it. That's all 23.
There you go.
Nailed it.
Oh, how about that?
23 varsity programs.
Impressive.
We got 39 teams.
Mhm.
Also looked at, we have over half of our students participate in athletics.
That's impressive.
Yeah. So going back the last, like 5 years, we've grown from, we had 245 students 5 years ago participating in athletics. Last year was at 309, and this year we're probably going to be at 340. So our programs are growing, which is wonderful.
And that's way higher than a lot of schools percentage-wise.
Percentage-wise, it's really, really high.
It's interesting you mentioned that. Like, we talk about kids getting involved. It's play week.
Mm-hmm.
So the play, our town is starting, I think it's Thursday night, Friday, and then 2 on Saturday.
Yep.
We have well over, I think it's 130 kids involved in that,
Yeah,
which is
it's
amazing
amazing.
to me. That
Yeah.
our kids get involved. That's one of the things that Illiana students do a great job in, is getting involved in a lot of different activities.
Yep.
So if you haven't signed up for the play yet, I know when you see this, it'll be Friday.
Mhm.
There might still be tickets available. It's a tough ticket to get.
Yeah, they tend to go pretty quick, but it's still a great thing to see. They do an amazing job. Directors, everyone involved really, really does a nice job. So it's something special to see. If they can go see it, go see it.
And our goal is that there's only this play and then the next year be the last play, because hopefully by
Mhm.
then we'll have an auditorium for them to be in.
Yeah.
That'll be huge. So our topic today, outside of just participation, which is something we encourage all of our kids to do, is a topic that's near and dear to my heart. I talk about a lot, is grit.
Mhm.
And how do we encourage grit from our students, from our parents, from our teachers, from all of us to get more gritty? This came to me a couple of years ago. I think I told the story in a blog one time. I remember driving back from Florida over spring break, and we're going through Atlanta,
Mm.
and
It's the worst.
it is. I time it well. I'm a planner. I get the time down. I wanted to listen to the NCAA tournament.
Yeah.
It was like the final 8,
Yeah.
Elite 8. I should get that right. So I'm driving, I'm going on. So I tell my kids in the back, I'm like, hey, can you Google what station is ESPN in Atlanta so I can listen to the game? Within 5 seconds, they respond, I can't find it.
Yeah. It's not there.
It's not there.
It's not on
Like,
the whole internet.
figure it out. I mean, it's not that hard. This is Atlanta. It's one of the biggest cities in the country.
Yeah.
It's got to be here. Probably 10 seconds later,
Mm-hmm.
I can't find it.
Yeah, gave up.
Yeah, my wife's laughing at this
Mm.
interchange. I'm like, you could figure it out. Do I need to pull over? I mean, it just sometimes kind of affirms, like, if we can't figure something out right away,
Yeah.
we just give up.
Yeah.
And I think that's something I see a lot, not only some students that we see, it's just that the little extra effort and that work, that grit, that determination, that passion is something that I see a little bit of struggling. I don't know where you see that in athletics in your world.
Oh yeah, I see it all over the place. In fact, our surveys that we do for our students at the end of each season, for them and for the coaches, it's called the Grit Leadership Surveys. And the idea is to kind of evaluate your season based on this concept of grit. Because one thing that I think, especially with athletes, is you want the results right away. You want the work, the results from the work to be instant, and that's just not the way it is.
No process.
There's no process, and grit, at the very heart of grit, it's about embracing the process, and it's about embracing this growth mindset of being okay with not being perfect, but looking towards what is the next step for me to get better.
So how does that make it real in the athletic world? I can see it sometimes some of the students that we have of challenging them to go that extra mile, to wrestle with it, to figure it out. And that's hard, but it's going to make you better in the long run.
Yeah, I think especially with athletics, it's most evident when things don't go your way. Like everyone can be happy and cheerful when life's going perfectly, but what happens when you don't make the shot? What happens when you're not playing a certain role on a team that you feel like you should be in? How do you respond to that type of difficulty? And I think that's when your grit is probably most revealed, is when you know that there's work to be done, and how do you go about dealing with those roadblocks?
Yeah, and I see it sometimes, especially athletically. Grit is when is done when no one sees it.
Mm-hmm.
I'll never forget years ago. Fun fact, I used to be the boys varsity basketball coach here for 10 years, a long time ago. And I remember I'll never forget, shout out to Dan DeYoung, years ago. He would show up early every morning. And this is after we came off the terrible year. We don't want to talk about it. It was like 7-19. It was terrible. I mean, I would have fired myself at that point.
Yeah.
But he just showed up every morning. No one saw, shot and shot and shot and shot. And that next year, we had a great year because people like Dan DeYoung put in the time and the grit and that determination when no one was watching, and it paid off because he was just an amazing player for us that year. And I'll never forget, we were playing Wheaton Academy in the old barn. This is way back.
Yeah.
And back then, the way the PSL worked, we had to win by 7 because it was a double round robin to win it. He's on the free throw line at the end of the game. He needs to make 2 for us to win. And he does.
Nice.
So all that process paid off.
Yeah.
So Dan DeYoung, if you're out there, great job, man.
Nice. Yeah. I see it with obviously with the sports world I'm in, but also, with things like music. You look at how much practice you have to put in to play an instrument well. I look at students that might struggle with a particular class, like a math or science, maybe something that doesn't come as easily to them. It takes a lot of work that people don't see to try to get to where you want to go. And the wonderful thing about it is that for those that are gritty, those are the ones that I just envision being successful, because I know they can overcome challenges.
Yeah, and a message sometime for our parents too, and this is hard as a parent, is
Mhm.
to let them struggle,
Yeah,
to
100%.
figure it out. Because if you just jump in and save them, that's
Mhm.
not teaching them. Let them struggle, let them fail, and I know that's hard. I struggle with it,
Yeah.
but it's going to make them stronger and grittier.
So they did this study. This was at Stanford a long time ago. Um, they did this study about how students deal with struggling and rejection and all this stuff, and what they found with freshmen going through Stanford, that there were so many kids that were struggling with depression, with dropping out, with failing. For students that had been successful their whole life, and it's the first time they met real difficulty, real struggle, and there's so many that struggled with it. They didn't know how to handle it, and that's why I think it's so important for parents. And I struggle with this myself too. Because you love your kids, but you got to let them struggle.
Yep.
You got to help. I mean, you want to help them, but they have to work through struggle. It's one of the greatest skills you can teach them, is dealing with diversity.
Yep, and guide them through that struggle. It's something that I think we all need to do a little better job of
Yeah.
sometimes, and kids need to figure it out too. And I turn it back to teachers as well, and all of us. We need to get a little grittier. And
Mhm.
I mean, like our gospel connection is what we always want to drive it to, is how do we get gritty in our faith?
Yeah.
To fight, to be determined that even though you don't feel like it,
Mhm.
sometimes you're praying, you're reading, you're working, you're taking care of people, you're being hospitable.
Mhm.
That's kind of the challenge we try and say each and every day around here, because it's not easy
Yeah.
to be gritty in your faith.
No, it's not. The I mean, one of the hardest things that we deal with is failure,
Mhm.
and knowing that there's just things. I mean, I had probably last week. There's a couple of days where you're just like, this day is not going well.
No, I remember we had those.
Yeah, we had about it, and I think how you learn to deal with that and to respond, and the way that plays into your faith is just um, a real blessing of God's grace when you're able to do with it. Because if you can't, it can be a very, very challenging life.
Yep. That's one of the encouragements to all of you, is to continue to be gritty and model that grittiness for
Yep.
your kids, that determination, that passion,
Hmm.
and that authenticity. I think that's all part of it.
Yep.
It's not easy, and it's okay to struggle, but that's why we got a team around to help.
Right.
And that's where athletics ties back into it again as well.
Yeah.
All right, so that's our challenge, to be gritty. And again, if you're still watching this and you want to go see the play, it's not too late to sign up. Everything's digital. We'd love to see you see Illiana Christian's version of our town.
Yeah.
And for Darren and I, have a great day.
See ya.